Today I'm going to share with you my Texas chili recipe. It's a little different from traditional Texas chili because I'm not using stew meat and I'm not making a pepper paste beforehand, but it will have no beans in it. And it's less of a recipe and more of a method of operations. So salt is a necessity, chili powder a necessity, and I like to normally use some fresh tomatoes, but we're going to use Rotel today because it's easy. I normally like to smoke my vegetables beforehand, so to cheat a little bit I'm going to put a drop of that in there. That's really the base for every time I make it. Other than that, I add a few things. I typically will add, on top of that base, some paprika, some garlic, and cumin. Aside from that, I will probably be adding today, I have some New Mexico hatch chili peppers that are dehydrated. This will not be a spicy chili. I tend to make mine mild, and then I add in jalapenos to my bowl afterwards to spice it up for my taste so that everybody can enjoy it. Okay, I've browned 2 pounds of hamburger meat, and I do 1 can of Rotel per pound, so that's going to be 2 cans. Take 1 can and fill it with cold water. So this is the most important part for me. You have to, don't add any of your seasonings except for the chili powder. The color is what makes me able to do this with 1 pound, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, however much I'm going to make. I really don't have to measure anything because I can look for the color. So we need to get this soupier, and that's what the water's for. Pour more water in. Don't worry about too much, you can cook it off. We want to have enough to where everything is kind of taking a nice bath. There's not much of anything that's going to sit above the water. Still need a bit more. Oh man, it looks like. So I'm going to pull the meat to the side and kind of create a little bit of a puddle back there. And that's where I'm going to add my chili powder. It may look like I'm going to dump a whole bottle. This one's about half empty. And I know from experience it's going to take at least all of this. So I'm going to put that in there. Just on that water. I'm not really stirring it with the meat yet. I'm just kind of getting that little pocket of mud back there, if you will, mixed together. Fold everything in. And once I have it all mixed together, I'm going to look at the color of it, and I'm going to decide I've either got enough or I need more chili powder. Got a pretty good sauce. I do think it needs to be a little bit darker. You can always add more. You can never take it out. And to me that looks pretty good. It's going to redden up a little bit more with the other things we're going to add, but the base is there. Add some salt. I'm not measuring it, I'm just kind of coating a little core of the top. I'm going to come add some paprika, about the same amount. Some garlic. Garlic can be strong, I don't put too much, but I never leave it out. Cumin. Cumin's kind of got a little bit of a secret to it, that it almost tastes like nothing until it mixes with fats. So if you're ever taste testing for cumin, give it some time. You won't be able to tell immediately. I'm going to stir all that goodness in there. Try not to stir too hard. Splash everything out on the counter. So we got a pretty good color. We got a nice amount of liquid. Okay, we're almost there. So I'm going to put a splash of liquid smoke in. I usually skip that whenever I smoke my own vegetables to put in it. Not very much. Can be strong. And lastly, I'm going to tear up some of those hatch chilies. Sprinkle those all in there, and then we'll put the cover on it. And we'll come back and see what she looks like in about an hour. Again, these are not a hot pepper, it's just a good flavor pepper. You could replace this with your favorite pepper, like a poblano or an Anaheim or a bell or whatever meat pepper you like. Or a hot pepper if you want something spicy. That dehydrated stuff under the liquid real well. Now we are complete. I may add some sugar about halfway through, and I may add flour or masa at the end. But other than that, unless there's a bad taste test, time is all that's required for this to be ready. So I'm going to cover it and come back in a little while. Okay, it's been cooking for about an hour. Uncovered it. Got a slight boil going. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. Stir that in. It's probably going to take another probably 2 hours. I like to go 3 hours usually at least. You can cook it all day. If you have too much liquid, leave the lid cracked and it'll cook a little bit off. If you have too little liquid, don't be scared to add some water and stir it back in. And at the end, I like to add flour or masa to thicken it up a little bit. So don't be worried if it's a little too soupy for you towards the end. But at this point, I've got a little more liquid on there than I'd like. It's no problem. I cover it up. I'm just going to leave it cracked. Check on it every now and then. Alright, this is about 2, maybe 2.5 hours in. Everything's starting to meld together well. You can pretty much call it done at this point whenever you want. The longer you cook it, the more it'll break down. But it's delicious right now. I usually kind of wait until somebody starts asking when is dinner ready, and then I can put some flour or some masa in it, and about 30 minutes after that she's ready to go. That just thickens it up a little bit, which is a personal preference. You don't have to do that if you like it soupy. You can just keep it like this, add a little water, make it soupier, whatever you want to do.